My son and his wife told me they trusted me. They just wanted me to keep an eye on their house for a week while they were away. They smiled as they left, even gave me a bottle of wine as a gift, but they forgot to turn off the cameras. Or maybe they didn't want to turn them off. At first, I didn't realize I was being recorded, but then I found the footage. Jessica's laughter as she called me the old nanny who puts up with everything. That's when I understood. This wasn't trust. It was a test. But I wasn't the silent one anymore. Not this time. This time, the cameras didn't catch me. They exposed them. If this story touched your soul, click subscribe and let me know in the comments which city or country you listened from. I'm genuinely curious where you watched from. I'm grateful to everyone who comments. My name is Dorothy Henderson, but everyone calls me Dot. I'm 68 years old and live in Charleston, South Carolina, in a small house shaded by big magnolias. It's been 10 years since I lost my husband, Robert. Heart attack. Suddenly. Without warning. After he left, life sort of stopped for me. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. Because I had my son David, and his happiness was everything to me. David was our only child. Robert and I gave everything to raise him. We sent him to the best schools, had him take music lessons, played sports. He studied economics at Charleston's best university. I cried tears of pride when he graduated. That was the very year he met Jessica. Jessica Miller, or Jessica Henderson now. She was a girl from the north side of town with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and always perfect makeup. Her family was wealthy, her father was a real estate agent, her mother a socialite. She was polite when we first met, but something inside me warned me. Maybe you could call it a mother's intuition. But David was so happy, I didn't say anything. They got married 3 years ago. It was a magnificent wedding at Magnolia Plantation. I covered half the wedding expenses with the money left over from Robert and my life insurance. Jessica's family paid the other half, but they emphasized at every opportunity that it was a joint investment, as if marriage were a business deal. After the wedding, David and Jessica started living in a beautiful apartment near the city center. I was still in my old house, the house filled with memories of Robert in every corner, where the roses we planted together still grew in the garden. I was alone, but I was used to it. I saw David on weekends. Sometimes Jessica would come too, but most of the time she was busy. And then, 6 months ago, everything changed. "Mom, we have some news for you," David said one Sunday at lunch. His eyes were shining. Jessica stood beside him, smiling, but there was a strange gleam in her eyes. "Are we pregnant?" I asked excitedly. "Would my dream of a grandchild come true?" "No, Mom, something better," David said. "We're buying a house." My heart swelled with joy. "That's wonderful news. Where?" "In Mount Pleasant," Jessica said, her voice quite formal. "On the waterfront, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, private pool." I whistled. "Wow, that's amazing. But isn't it expensive?" That was the moment. David and Jessica exchanged glances. Then David said, "Mom, we need to talk to you about something." They took me to the living room. I made coffee, and as I sat there with my cup, I realized they were standing in front of me as if giving a presentation. Jessica took a folder out of her bag. "Dot," Jessica said. She always called me by my name. "Never, Mom. You know this house is our dream. But we need help with the down payment." "How much?" I asked. $150,000, David said. I nearly spilled my coffee. "How much?" "We know it's a lot of money," David said quickly. "But Mom, think about it. A place for your grandchildren. A guest room for you. Family gatherings by the pool." "We don't have grandchildren yet, David," I said quietly. "But we will," Jessica said. "And then we'll all need a bigger place." I started to think. Robert's life insurance, our retirement savings. I had a total of $200,000. I could afford the house. My Social Security check was enough. But that money was my security, my cushion for old age. "I could lend it to you," I said, "with a monthly repayment plan." Jessica's face changed. "Dot, we're talking about a family, not a loan, an investment." "How is it an investment?" We could add your name to the deed, David said. It would be our home. You could stay there whenever you want. Something felt wrong inside me, but I looked into my son's hopeful eyes. They were thinking of a room for me. Maybe this was an opportunity for us to spend more time together. Let me think about it, I said. I couldn't sleep after that night. I was looking at Robert's photo. What should I do? I asked him silently. Of course there was no answer. But inside, I felt like I heard his voice. Be careful, Dorothy. Be very careful. But in the end, I said yes. Because he was my son. And as a mother, you'd do anything for your child's happiness, right? What would you have done? Would you have given up your life savings for your child's dream home? I gave half the money right away, $75,000. I promised to give the rest after the house was purchased. David and Jessica were so happy. They hugged me, thanked me, and talked about how this house would be our legacy as a family. The home buying process took 3 months. During that time, I visited them several times at their apartment. Jessica showed me the house plans, telling me which room would be mine and what they would plant in the garden. We'll make a special place for you, Dot, she said. Your room will always be ready when you want to come. It sounded nice. Maybe I had misjudged her. Maybe we really would become closer as a family. In August, the house purchase was finalized. David called me with the good news. Mom, we bought the house. We got the keys today. Is my name on the deed too? I asked. There was a brief silence on the phone. Mom, we talked to the lawyer. Adding your name now would be a bit complicated. But since it's property acquired after marriage, you're already entitled to it. Don't worry. But David, you promised. I know, Mom, I know. We'll sort it out in a few months, okay? We're busy moving right now. Something bothered me, but I said, Okay, son. Go ahead and settle into your new home. They wanted to spend that weekend in their new home. They didn't take me. It's still too messy, Jessica said. You'll be our first guest, but we need to get everything in place first. 2 weeks later, they finally invited me over. On Saturday afternoon, David came to pick me up. He was very excited on the way, constantly talking about the house's features. I was excited too. After all, it was a house bought with my money. When I saw the house, I was breathless. It was truly magnificent. White columns, a wide veranda, a sparkling pool in the back. It was one of the finest examples of Charleston architecture. Jessica greeted us at the door. With her perfect makeup, white pants, and stylish blouse, she looked like she had stepped out of a magazine cover. Welcome, Dot. Come on in. We toured the house. Every room was meticulously decorated. Modern furniture, expensive-looking objects, art on the walls. It's magnificent, I said. It's really beautiful. Thank you, Jessica said. We hired an interior designer. She chose most of it. An interior designer. Of course. More money. So, which one is my room? I asked. David and Jessica exchanged that look again. Mom, come sit down, David said. Let's talk. We sat down in the living room. My heart was racing. Mom, we're looking at it, David said. We turned the guest rooms into a kid's room and an office. We haven't been able to prepare a private room for you yet. But you promised. We know, Mom, Jessica said softly, but there have been so many expenses lately. Furniture, decor, landscaping. We need a little more time. When? I asked. In a few months, David said. I promise. A voice inside me screamed, Don't give him the rest of my money. But I looked into my son's eyes. He looked tired, stressed. Maybe he really had spent too much. All right, I said. I'll wait a few months. After that day, I started seeing David less often. Instead of visiting every weekend, we saw each other once or twice a month. Jessica always had plans, brunch with friends, spa days, shopping trips. David was busy with projects at work. They told me I needed to be understanding. They were settling into their new home. September, October, November passed. My room still wasn't ready. I hadn't given him the rest of the money yet. I'll give it to you when we meet with the lawyer and add my name to the deed, I said. David kept saying, "Soon, Mom. Soon." And then December came. One evening before Christmas, David called. "Mom, I have a favor to ask," he said. "Next week, Jessica and I are going to Hawaii. It's like a honeymoon, to celebrate our wedding anniversary. It'll be for a week. Can you watch the house?" "Of course," I said. "What do I need to do?" "Just water the plants and check the mail." "Oh, and we have 2 cats now, Jasper and Coco. You'll need to feed them too." I hadn't even known about the cats. "All right, son," I said. "When should I pick up the keys?" "I'll bring them tomorrow. And Mom." "Thank you. You're amazing." The next day, David brought the keys. He also gave me a notebook with detailed instructions about the house. What time to feed the cats, how much water each flower needed, which day to take out the trash. Everything was there. It was like it was written for a hotel clerk. "You didn't need to be that detailed," I said with a laugh. "Jessica prepared it," David said. "You know, she's a bit of a perfectionist." "A bit?" I thought. But I didn't say anything. That Thursday, David and Jessica flew to Hawaii. They called me before leaving. "Everything's fine at home," I said. "Have a good trip." "Thanks, Mom," David said. "Oh, by the way, there are security cameras at home. But don't worry, they're only outside at the front door, in the backyard, in the garage. Not inside." "All right, son. Have fun." After hanging up, I thought about it. Security cameras. Makes sense. Nice house, nice neighborhood, normal. But that night, before getting into bed, I had this strange feeling, like I was being watched. "Nonsense," I told myself. "You're getting old, Dorothy. You're becoming paranoid." I wish I had been right. If you were me, would you install security cameras in a newly purchased house, or is that a sign of insecurity? I got up early on Friday morning. I went to David's house to feed the cats and water the flowers. The morning sun lit up the white facade of the house. It was really beautiful. It should have made me proud to think that my money had contributed to it. But somehow, I always felt something was missing. I opened the door. "Jasper, Coco," I called out. 2 cats came running, one black and white, the other orange. They were the kind of cats Jessica liked. Purebred, expensive, the kind you could share on Instagram. After feeding them and cleaning the litter box, I went to the kitchen. Jessica's instruction book said, "Water the plants every morning at exactly 8 o'clock. It was 7:45. A little early, but I'd better get it done. The kitchen was incredibly clean. Everything was in its place, not a single stain on the counter. I opened the fridge. It was organized, with labeled storage containers, organic vegetables, expensive cheeses. In Jessica's world, everything was perfect. While watering the plants, I was looking around the living room. A big TV, white leather couches, a glass coffee table. On the wall were David and Jessica's wedding photos in perfect frames, professional shots. I couldn't find our wedding pictures. I couldn't see any photos of Robert and me either, as if we had never existed. After playing with the cats for a bit, I was about to leave the house when I saw a laptop on the kitchen counter. It was open. There was no screensaver. Maybe David had forgotten it in a hurry? I approached it. A program was open on the screen, security camera software. Suddenly, David's words came to mind. "The cameras are only outside." But there were 4 different images on the screen: the front door, the backyard, the garage, and the living room. The living room. There was a camera inside too. My heart started racing. Maybe I was seeing things? I moved the mouse. No, it was clearly visible. A camera filming right from the middle of the living room. I was now standing in front of that camera. Why did they lie to me? Maybe they had forgotten to mention it. Yes, they were so flustered that they had forgotten. "Calm down, Dorothy," I told myself. But I was curious. I clicked with the mouse. The program was showing past recordings. The most recent video was from last night, David and Jessica leaving the house. I went back a bit further. Last week, the week before that. And then I saw it. A video from 3 weeks ago. Date, November 24th. Thanksgiving. I wasn't invited because you were here that day. There will be just the 2 of us, they said. I clicked on the video. David and Jessica were in the living room. But they weren't alone. There were two other couples their age, elegantly dressed. They were laughing, clinking champagne glasses. I turned up the volume. "This is amazing," said a blonde woman. "How did you convince them?" It was Jessica's voice that answered. "It was very easy. Older people are very emotional. A little talk about grandchildren, a little talk about family togetherness." They accepted immediately. I froze. "You're smart," said a man. "Our family never helped us. We bought everything with our own credit." David spoke up. "At first, he wanted to add his name to the deed, but we got around it, thanks to the lawyer. Now it's officially ours." "Didn't he give the rest of the money?" asked someone else. "Not yet," said Jessica, "but he said he would. He said when we added his name to the deed." "Of course we won't." They all laughed. My son too. "Aren't you going to prepare a room for him at home?" asked the blonde woman. Jessica shrugged. "Why would I? I'm not going to invite him here anyway. I don't want my house filled with the smell of an old woman." More laughter. "My son. My David." He was laughing. I paused the video. My hands were shaking, tears in my eyes. If you bought your child a house with the money you'd saved your whole life and then saw someone else's name on the deed, what would you do? I was 68 years old and I knew the answer. But first I had to hear their plan. I rewound it. I looked for other videos. I went back a little further. 2 months earlier, early October, David and Jessica were in the kitchen. Jessica: "Did you check how much is left in Mom's account?" David: "It should be around $75,000. A total of 150 when we sold the house." Jessica: "Perfect. We'll add a jacuzzi by the pool with that, maybe even a small boat." Jessica: "Maybe you're exaggerating a bit." Jessica: "What's the big deal, David? We're doing him a favor. Do you want him to be alone in his old age? At least his money will benefit us. After all, you're his heir anyway." David fell silent. He didn't argue, he just shook his head. I shut down the laptop. I was trembling. Was it from anger, sadness, disappointment? I didn't know. Maybe a little of all of them. I collapsed into the living room. Jasper came over and rubbed against my leg. I stroked him. At least the cats were innocent. What should I do? Should I call David right away and yell at him? Should I go to the police? But what did I have? I had watched the recordings in my own son's house, with his permission. Was it a crime legally? Morally, absolutely. But legally? I started thinking, if I called them now, they would deny it. "Mom, what are you talking about? You've got it wrong," they would say. Jessica would cry. David would apologize. They would deceive me. Again. No. First I needed to gather evidence. Then I had to make a plan. I went home that day but couldn't sleep. I lay awake all night staring at the ceiling. I watched the recordings again. There were almost 3 hours of video. Angry conversations, plans, gossip about me. In one, Jessica was talking on the phone. "No, Mom. Dot isn't coming. Why would I bring her? She's always talking about how they lived when they were our age. Back in their day this, back in their day that. Boring. I only need her now when she runs out of money." By morning, I had made a decision. I had a week before they returned from Hawaii. In that week, I would learn everything, document everything, and make a plan to ensure their downfall. Because I wasn't the quiet, obedient Dorothy anymore. What would you have done? Confront them immediately, or gather evidence first? I woke up early on Saturday morning. Actually, it would be more accurate to say I didn't sleep at all. My eyes were swollen from crying, but there were no tears left. There was only cold determination inside me. I made my coffee and took out our old photo albums. Robert and me, young and happy. Baby David, David starting school, David at his graduation ceremony. Every photo a memory, every memory a pain. David's 10th birthday. We had bought him a bicycle that day. Robert had spent 3 months' salary on that bicycle. David was so happy that he kept kissing us over and over. "You're the best mom and dad," he said. "I love you so much." When did he change? When did he become this stranger? Or was he always like this, and I just didn't want to see it? No, I remembered. The change started after Robert died. David was 30 at the time. After the funeral, he sat with me, held my hand, and said, "Mom, I won't leave you alone anymore." And he really did come every week for the first few years. He spent time with me. Then, Jessica came along. For the first 6 months, David still came often. But Jessica always found an excuse. "We can't today, Dot. We have plans." Or, "David's too tired. Maybe next week." Gradually, David's visits became less frequent. The phone calls grew shorter. And me? I quietly accepted it. Because I was afraid of losing David. If I complained about Jessica, I might lose him completely. So I smiled, understood, and said nothing. But now I understood. I had already lost him. Maybe I never had him to begin with. The phone rang. It was David. My heart raced, but I tried to stay calm. "Hello, son," I said, keeping my voice as normal as possible. "Mom, how are you? How's the house?" "Everything's fine. The cats are fine. The plants are fine. Don't worry." "You're amazing, Mom. Look, I want to ask you something. When can you give me the rest of the money? Jessica saw a really nice antique shop here, and she wants to buy a few pieces." My breath caught. My breath really caught. Right now, in Hawaii, on a vacation she bought with my money. She wants more of my money. "David," I said slowly, "did you add my name to the deed?" "Oh, Mom, not this again? We'll take care of it when we get back to the lawyer. We're on vacation now. I don't want to talk about these things." "So when do I get to talk about it?" "Mom, what's wrong? Your voice sounds strange." "Nothing, son. I'm just tired. Have a good vacation. We'll talk later." I hung up the phone. My hands were shaking. That afternoon, I went back to David's house. This time, I had a plan in mind. The laptop was still on the kitchen counter. I thought about how careless Jessica was, or maybe she just thought I was so insignificant that she didn't even see me as a threat. I sat down and started watching all the videos systematically. I took notes on every important conversation. Dates, what was said, plans. October 3. Jessica to her mother on the phone. "When Dot's money runs out, we'll stop visiting her completely." I already told David we'll say Mom is too old, it's too exhausting to take care of her. October 15. David to a friend. "Mom still wants to add her name to the deed. Jessica is freaking out. We'll find a way to get the lawyer to brush it off." November 1. Jessica to a friend. "If we get the old woman to sell her house too, we can get that money as well. That's worth at least $300,000. My house, the house with Roberts and my memories. Did they want to take that too? November 20. David and Jessica are arguing. Jessica, "Your mom is causing so many problems. She keeps calling." David, "Jessica, she's lonely. Be a little understanding." Jessica, "Understanding? Do you remember how much money she gave you?" "We don't owe her anything anymore. We took her money, our business is done." David, long silence. "You're right. But she's still my mother." Jessica, "Yes, and I'm the one who got you the most beautiful house of your life. Don't forget that, David." I paused the video. Tears were streaming down my cheeks. But this time, it wasn't from sadness. It was from anger. I recorded all the conversations on my phone. I took screenshots of the videos. I copied everything onto a small USB drive. The evidence was ready. When I got home that evening, I sat down at Robert's desk in the living room. I hadn't touched any of his things since he died. Everything was just as it had been: his pens, notebooks, reading glasses. I opened one of the drawers. Inside were old letters. Love letters Robert had written to me. Happy Mother's Day. Cards David had written as a child. And then I saw an envelope. It had my handwriting on it. Robert's last days read. I remembered. I was devastated after Robert died. My friend Martha said, "Write your feelings down, Dorothy. Pour your grief onto paper." I wrote, but I never had the courage to read it. Now I opened it. Inside were notebook pages, lines written in a trembling hand. The days have been so long since my Robert left, but I miss David the most. I don't know why David is keeping his distance. I don't call because I don't want to bother him. Maybe he's getting used to his new married life. Jessica must be a good girl, since David chose her. But I don't understand why he doesn't warm up to me. He seems cold to me. But maybe I'm just sensitive, maybe I'm jealous. I looked further down. I called David today. Jessica answered the phone. David is busy, she said. I asked, when can he come? She said, this week is impossible. Maybe next month. Next month? Do I have to wait a month to see my son? My tears soaked the pages. I had written these things, and I had forgotten. Or maybe I wanted to forget. Last page. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just a clingy mom. What would Robert have done? He'd always talk to David, openly. But I'm scared. I'm so scared of losing David that I can't say anything. I stay silent, and this silence grows inside me, grows. I closed the book. That's when I realized I had been silent for years. I hadn't set my boundaries for years. And David and Jessica had noticed this and taken advantage of it. But enough is enough. Robert, I thought, now I'll act like you. Open and clear. Fearlessly. On Sunday morning, I called Martha. Martha was my friend of 30 years. She was by my side at Robert's funeral, by my side through every difficult day, and I knew she would be by my side now. Dorothy, what's wrong, sweetie? Your voice sounds strange. Martha, I need to tell you something, but please don't think I'm crazy. We made coffee and sat in my living room, talking for hours. I told her everything, the money, the house, the deed, the cameras, the videos, the conversations, everything. Martha listened. Her face grew sterner and sterner. Finally, she said, that little bastard. I rarely saw Martha swear, so I was surprised. Are you talking about David? Both of them, but especially that Jessica. I knew it. I knew from the first day I saw her that girl wasn't right. I wish I had listened to you. What are you going to do now? Martha asked. I don't know. If I go to the police, what will I say? My son took money from me, but I gave it willingly? Legally, it seems like they have a right to it, Martha thought. My son-in-law has a friend who's a lawyer. He specializes in real estate law. Should I ask him? But Martha, isn't a lawyer very expensive? Dorothy Henderson, you've been saving your money for years and spending it on others. Now it's time to spend it on myself. I'll schedule an appointment with the lawyer tomorrow. That night I slept a little more peacefully. For the first time, I had a plan. For the first time, I wasn't alone. On Monday afternoon, Martha came with me to the law office in an elegant building in downtown Charleston. The lawyer's name was Richard Pemberton, a man in his 50s, with gray hair, a serious face, but kind. We sat down in the office. I placed all my evidence, the USB drive, my notebook, copies of my bank transfers on the table. Mrs. Henderson, Richard said, let me be clear from the start. This situation is complicated, but it's not impossible. Tell me everything. I told him everything. Richard took notes, watched the videos, examined the documents. It took an hour. Finally, he leaned back. There are a few options here, he said. First, you can file a civil fraud lawsuit. Your son and daughter-in-law deceived you, misled you, said they would add your name to the deed but didn't. This constitutes constructive fraud. Go on, I said. Second, undue influence. You're an elderly woman. They took advantage of your emotional vulnerability. Especially in the videos, there are statements like, elderly people are emotional. That's a strong argument. So, will we win? Richard thought. The videos are very strong evidence. But there's a problem. You were in their home with their permission. You may not have the right to watch the videos. My heart sank. So the evidence isn't admissible? No. In South Carolina, one-party recording is legal. You were alone in that house. The security system was on. You were just watching. But defense attorneys could claim privacy violation. It depends on the judge. So, what do you suggest? Richard leaned forward. I suggest you talk to them first. Show them your evidence. Tell them clearly what you want. If they don't agree, we'll file a lawsuit. But the lawsuit will take a long time. It will be expensive. and your family will be completely torn apart. Mr. Pemberton, I said quietly, my family is already broken. I just want what's fair. Richard nodded. Then let's get ready. First, we'll send a demand letter. We'll demand the return of your money and a change in the deed. We'll give them 7 days. If they don't accept, we'll start the lawsuit. How much will it cost? $5,000 for the first stage. More if we go to court. But if we win, they pay all the costs. $5,000, a significant portion of the money left in my bank account. But what choice did I have? Let's do it, I said. That week, I went to the Davids' house, took care of the cats, and acted as if everything were normal. But inside, a storm was raging. On Thursday morning, David called. Mom, we're coming back tomorrow. It was a great vacation. That's wonderful, son. You'll tell us about everything you missed when you get home. Of course, Mom. Oh, by the way, about the rest of the money. Jessica really loved those antiques. Maybe this week. David, I said, my voice cold. There are things we need to talk about when you get home. What kind of things? We'll talk face to face. Can I come over on Saturday? Well, actually Saturday. David, Saturday, 2 o'clock. I'll be there. I hung up the phone. My hands were shaking, but this time not from fear, but from determination. Martha came over on Friday evening. We got ready together. The request letter from Richard, copies of all the evidence, a conversation plan. Are you ready? Martha asked. I don't know, I said honestly. But I have to do it. I couldn't sleep again that night. Early in the morning, I looked at Robert's photo. Be with me, I whispered. Help me be strong. On Saturday afternoon, at exactly 2 o'clock, I knocked on the Davids' door. I had a large folder in my hand, evidence, letters, everything. David opened the door. He was tanned, rested. Mom, come in. Jessica is making tea. Let's talk in the living room, I said. There was something in my voice because David's face changed. Mom, are you okay? In the living room, David. We went into the living room. Jessica came out of the kitchen with a tray of tea. Perfect makeup, perfect smile. Dot, how are you? Thank you for looking after the house. Sit down, Jessica, I said. She looked surprised. Excuse me? I said, sit down. I need to talk to both of you. David and Jessica looked at each other. Then they sat down. I remained standing. Last week, while I was looking after the cats, I said, my voice calm but cold, I found a laptop in the kitchen. It was open. The security camera program was running. Jessica's face went pale. And I continued, got curious. I watched the videos. I watched them all. David jumped to his feet. Mom, you had no right. Sit down, I yelled. It was the first time in my life I had yelled at my son. He was shocked. He sat down. Now you sit down and listen, I said. I opened the folder. I pulled out the first page, the transcript of the video, dated November 24th. I began to read. Old people are so emotional. A little talk about grandchildren, a little talk about family togetherness. She accepted right away. I looked up at Jessica. That's your voice, Jessica. Thanksgiving. Do you remember? Jessica's eyes welled up. But she didn't speak. I turned to another page. He wanted to add his name to the deed, but thanks to the lawyer, we got around it. Now it's officially ours. I looked at David. That's your voice, David, my son. Mom, I'm not done yet. Another page. I don't want to fill my house with the smell of old women. I smiled, but it was a cold smile. That was you too, Jessica. You were going to prepare a special room for me in my house, weren't you? Liar. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. I gave you $75,000, I said. Half of my life savings. Because I thought we would be a family. Because I thought it would be a home for my grandchildren. Because I thought I would live there with you. Tears were streaming down David's face. Mom, I'm sorry, Don't apologize, David. It's too late. I took the lawyer's letter out of the folder. This is a demand letter from my lawyer. You have 7 days to return all the money or transfer 50% of the deed to my name. If you don't agree, I'll file a civil fraud lawsuit." Jessica jumped to her feet. "You can't do that." "I can, Jessica, and I will." I took the USB drive out of my pocket. I copied all the videos, all your conversations. We'll watch them in court. The judge will watch them. The jury will watch them. All of Charleston society will hear what kind of person you are." Jessica collapsed onto the couch. Her face was buried in her hands. David approached. "Mom, please, don't do this. We're family." "Family, David?" My voice cracked for the first time. "Is this how you use the people you call family? Is this how you talk about your mother behind her back? Can you call an old woman sent family?" "I did it because I loved her." "Did you ever love me, David?" Tears streamed down my cheeks. "Really? Or was it always just my money?" "Mom, no, I love you, I swear." "Then why have you been lying to me for years? Why did you stay silent when Jessica mocked me? Why did you promise to add my name to the deed even though you knew you wouldn't?" David couldn't answer. He just cried. Jessica got up and left the room. She left with a door slam. I heard the sound of a motor. She was gone. David and I were left alone. My son, my child, was kneeling on the floor, crying. "Mom," he said, "what did we do? What did we do?" I bent down. I stroked his hair. The mother inside me still loved him, but at the same time, my heart was breaking into pieces. "You made the wrong choice, David," I said softly. "You valued Jessica more than your mother. You valued money more than love, and now you'll have to live with the consequences. Please, Mom, please forgive me." "Maybe one day I'll forgive you, David, but not now. Now I want justice." I stood up. I left the folder on the table. "My lawyer's number is in there. You have 7 days. Make your decision." I walked toward the door. David shouted, "Mom, don't go." I turned around. I looked at him one last time. "It wasn't me who chose to leave, David. You chose to send me away, a long time ago. You're just realizing it now." And I left the house. The next 4 days felt like hell. Dozens of messages and calls from David. I ignored them all. No word from Jessica. Martha came every day. "Be strong," she said. "You're doing the right thing." "But he's my son, Martha. My heart is breaking." "I know, sweetheart, but sometimes love means setting boundaries." On Wednesday, Richard called. "Mrs. Henderson, we received a response from David's lawyer." My heart stopped. "What are they saying?" "A settlement offer. They're proposing to return 70% of the money and transfer 25% of the deed to you." 70%? 25%? "I want it all," I said. "I understand. But court is risky, Mrs. Henderson. Maybe we could consider a settlement." "No. Either everything or court." Richard was silent. Then he said, "I understand. Then I'll prepare the case. We'll file on Monday." I couldn't sleep again that night. But this time, I thought I heard Robert's voice. "I'm proud of you, Dorothy. You finally spoke up." On Friday morning, December 20th, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, I saw David. He was alone. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, his beard unkempt, his clothes wrinkled. "Mom," he said. "Can we talk?" I let him in. I made coffee. We were silent for a long time. Finally, David spoke. "Jessica left. She went back to her mother's house. She's filing for divorce." I wasn't surprised. "I'm sorry," I said, and I really was. "Don't be," David said with a bitter smile. "You were right. She didn't love me. She loved my money. Or your money." "David." "No, Mom, listen to me, please." He reached out his hands, but I didn't take them. I did a terrible thing. I used you. I lied. And worst of all, I saw how Jessica treated you. But I stayed silent. Because I was a coward. Because I was afraid of losing her love." "What about losing my love?" I asked quietly. David's face crumpled. "I always thought yours was safe. You were my mom. You'd always be there. Or so I thought." "David, motherhood isn't an endless ATM machine. Motherhood is a mutual relationship. Love, respect, trust. I know. I understand now. He started crying. Mom, forgive me. Please. I'll fix everything. I swear. How? I'll change the deed. 50% of the house will be yours. I'll give you the rest of the money back right away. And I'll build you an apartment inside the house. A real living space with its own entrance. You can live there if you want, or stay in your own house, but it will always be your home. I remained silent for a long time. What does Jessica say about this? I'm done with Jessica. I'll sign the divorce papers. I'll probably sell the house too, because everything in it is built on lies. David, I don't want you to sell the house. I want the house for us, and I want you to keep your word. I will, Mom. I swear I'll fix everything. We looked at each other for a long time. Then I slowly reached out my hand. He took my hand, and in that moment, perhaps it was the first step toward healing. It's a long road, David, I said. Rebuilding trust takes time. I know, Mom. But no matter how long it takes, I'll do it. Would you forgive? Or are some betrayals unforgivable? On Monday morning, David, his lawyer, and I gathered at Richard's office. A pile of documents was placed on the table. The deed of conveyance, said Richard. 50% of the house goes to Dorothy Henderson. Also, the entire $75,000 will be returned within 10 days. This is a settlement agreement. Once signed, the lawsuit will be dismissed. David's lawyer spoke. Mrs. Henderson, my client also wants to set up a trust fund in your name. If you encounter any financial problems in the future, you will be secure. I was surprised. I looked at David. Is this your idea? Yes, Mom, he said. His eyes were red but determined. I won't leave you defenseless again. This fund is yours alone. Not even I can touch it. Only you will manage it. I couldn't hold back my tears. David. Mom, please. Let me do this. Let me at least do one thing right. We signed the papers. The whole process took an hour. When it was over, Richard said, Congratulations, Mrs. Henderson. Justice has been served. But there was a strange emptiness inside me. Yes, justice had been served, but my family had been torn apart. When I returned home that evening, I found an envelope at my door. Inside was a short note, written in Jessica's handwriting. You won. I hope you're happy. You ruined David. You destroyed my marriage. But I want you to know there were times when David truly loved you. I changed him, and I'm proud of that. Because you deserve to change too. You were an old, lonely, pitiful woman. Now you're just old and lonely. But at least you're rich. Best regards, Jessica. I read the letter. Then I slowly tore it up and threw it in the trash. Jessica still didn't understand. I didn't fight for money. I fought for my honor. But part of it was true. It was her who changed David. Or maybe it was her who brought out the dark side in David. Either way, it didn't matter anymore. Christmas passed quietly. David had called, saying, Let's celebrate together. But I wasn't ready. Maybe next year, I said. I celebrated Christmas with Martha. Her family invited me to dinner. It was a warm, noisy, real family evening. The children were running around, everyone was laughing, food was being shared. That's how it should be, Martha said. That's how a family should be. She was right. When New Year's Eve came, I was alone at home. But this time, the loneliness felt different. Peaceful. Serene. 10 minutes before midnight, the doorbell rang. When I opened it, I saw David. He had a box in his hand. Mom, he said, I didn't want to disturb you, but I wanted to give you this. I took the box. I opened it. Inside was an old photo frame. Robert, me, and baby David. Our first family photo. Jessica had kept it, David said. She wouldn't let us hang it at home because it looked old. But I found it. It should be yours. I looked at the photo. We were all so happy, so innocent, so hopeful. Would you like to come inside? I asked. David's face lit up. Really? Just 10 minutes. Let's ring in the new year together. We went inside. I turned on the TV. The countdown at Times Square had begun. We sat side by side on the couch. We didn't talk. We just watched. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. Mom, David said, I'll be a better son in the new year, I promise. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Fireworks exploded on the screen. David hugged me. This time, I hugged him back. Happy New Year, son, I said, and I hope this year we become a real family. In June, on a hot Charleston morning, I went to David's house, now our house. There was construction in the backyard. What are they doing? I asked David. Want to see inside? He was smiling that genuine David smile I hadn't seen in a long time. He took me to the back of the yard. There, separate from the main house but connected to it, was a small structure. Your apartment, he said. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a mini kitchen, and a sitting area. It has its own entrance. You can be here whenever you want, and in your own home when you don't. But it's always here for you. My eyes welled up. David, it's not finished yet. Come inside. We went inside. Everything was decorated to my taste. Soft colors, comfortable furniture, old photos of Robert and me on the walls. How did you know what I liked? I asked. Because I'm a mother, she said. I always had to know. I just forgot. But now I remember. We went into the bedroom. There was a large family photo on the wall, Robert, me, David, and next to it, an empty frame. What's that for? I asked. For your grandchild, David said. One day, I hope. I was surprised. My grandchild? But Jessica. Jessica is in the past, Mom, but I'm only 35. Maybe one day I'll find the right person, and then this frame will be filled. We went back to the living room. David made coffee. We sat together on the terrace, looking at the pool. Mom, he said, do you know what I miss most? What? Sitting like this. Just you and me. Talking, being quiet, being together. With Jessica there was always a rush. Go here, do that, be like this. But with you, there's peace. I held his hand. I miss this too, son. Have you forgiven me? He asked. I thought long and hard. Forgiveness is a process, David. I forgive a little more each day. But what matters is this. I'm here. And you're here. And we're starting over together. That's enough, he said. It's enough for me. In August, we had a barbecue party in the backyard of Martha and David's, now our house. Martha's family, David's new friends, neighbors from the neighborhood. Everyone came. I was sitting on the terrace, watching everyone. The children were playing in the pool. The men were at the grill. The women were chatting in the living room. David came over to me. Are you happy, Mom? Very happy, son. Me too. He was silent for a moment. Mom, my divorce from Jessica is final. I know. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's for the best. But I want you to know you heard everything that was said about you back then. You heard how Jessica saw you. But I'm also responsible. Because I couldn't stop her. Because I also... His voice broke. David, let the past stay in the past. What matters is now. But Mom, I still feel guilty. Every day, when I think about how I used you. David, look at me. I turned his face toward me. Yes, you hurt me. Yes, you made a mistake. But now you're trying to make it right. And that takes courage. That takes character. That's why I love you. Really? Really? Because no one is perfect, David. What matters is learning from your mistakes, growing, changing, and you are changing. I can see it. David hugged me, tightly, for a long time. I love you, Mom. I love you so much. I love you too, son. That evening, late at night, after the guests had left, I sat alone on David's terrace. I looked at the stars. Robert, I thought, did you see? Our son is back. The real David is back. And at that moment, I thought I heard Robert's voice in the wind. I'm proud of you, Dorothy, both of our son and you. I smiled. Yes, Robert, I'm proud too. December 2026. A full year had passed since that terrible discovery. Now I was sitting by the fireplace in David's our house. I was staying here 3 days a week now, 4 days at my own home. We had found the perfect balance. David walked in. "Mom, guess what happened?" "What happened?" "I got promoted. I'm the company's Southeast Regional Manager." I stood up and hugged him. "Congratulations, son. I'm so proud of you." "And Mom, there's one more thing." He gave a shy smile. "I met someone." My heart raced. "Really?" "Her name is Sarah. She's a teacher, a child psychologist. She's very different from Jessica. Simple, sincere, kind-hearted. I'd like to meet her. I'll bring her tomorrow." "But Mom, please don't scare her." He laughed. "Am I scaring her?" "I'm joking, but you know your approval is very important to me, now." The next day, I met Sarah. She was a woman with short brown hair, glasses, and natural beauty. She wore no makeup and dressed simply, but she had a genuine smile on her face. "Mrs. Henderson," she said, "it's lovely to meet you. David talks about you all the time. Please call me Dot. And you, Sarah, welcome." We had tea together in the afternoon. Sarah teaches children with special needs. Her salary isn't high, but she loves her job. "Money isn't everything," she said. "What matters is being happy with what you do and being with the right people." We looked at each other, and in that moment, I knew this woman was different. At the end of the day, Sarah hugged me as she left. "I hope I can see you again, Dot." "I hope so too, Sarah. You're always welcome." After Sarah left, David came over to me. "What do you think?" "I'm thinking," I said with a smile, "maybe that empty frame will be filled soon." David laughed. "Mom, it's way too early." "I know, son, but it felt good. She's a good girl. She loves you for who you are, not for your money." "How do you know?" "A mother just knows," I said, and this time I was right. Now, as this story comes to an end, I want to tell you something. Those cameras, the cameras that ruined me, actually saved me. If I hadn't seen those videos, maybe I would have been deceived forever. Maybe I would have given away all my money and gotten nothing in return. But most importantly, those cameras showed me the truth. Not just David and Jessica's truth, but my own truth too. I had been silent for years. I had tried to be tolerant for years. I had tried to be a good mother for years. But being a good mother doesn't mean being a usable mother. Being a good mother means setting boundaries, respecting yourself, and being able to say no when necessary. Now, at 69, I finally learned. David and I have lunch every week. Sarah sometimes joins us. Last week, David said to me, "Maybe we'll get married next summer. And I have a question for you." "What is it?" "Will you accompany me at the wedding? Will you be my witness?" My eyes welled up. "Of course, son. I'd be honored. We haven't heard from Jessica. We heard she moved to another city, found another rich man. I didn't expect that from her. Some people never change. But some do, like David. And some discover themselves, like me." Last week, I opened David's laptop to delete the old videos. But first, I watched them one more time. Those painful conversations, that betrayal, those lies, and then I deleted them all. Because I wasn't living in the past anymore. I was looking toward the future. I looked at Robert's photo. "We did it," I told him. "We brought our son back." And I found myself. This story began as a story of betrayal, but it ends as a story of redemption. Because sometimes you have to lose to win. Sometimes you have to break to grow stronger. And sometimes cameras don't just show others, they show us too, who we are, how strong we can be. I am Dorothy Henderson. I am 69 years old. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. And finally, I have a life of my own. If you're reading this story and find yourself in my place, feeling used, alone, helpless, I want you to know it's never too late. It's never too late to stand up for yourself. It's never too late to demand your rights. And it's never too late to start over. I started at 68. You can start at any age. Because justice has no age. There is no age for honor. And there is no age for self-respect. Cameras always record. But sometimes, they also show us what we need to see. In my case, it showed the truth. And the truth, though painful, set me free. Dear readers, if you like this story, please click the subscribe button. Share your thoughts in the comments. Write which city you're watching from. And share this story with someone who needs it. Every comment, every like, gives me the strength to tell more stories. Thank you. Stay well.